big black box.
Staring at me. I had to have it. I had to have it.
No one's fun anymore. Whatever happened to fun?
You are listening to the Drag Dungeon Podcast with your hosts, Jay and John.
Hey! Welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. You asked for this shit if you're easily offended. We don't recommend it. You asked for this shit, so here it is.
You. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
And just like that, episode 3, When in Rome. I'm John. This is Jay. Hi, Jay.
Hey.
What's going on, girl?
And just like that.
Just again, one last time, we're doing the first 3 episodes because we talked about the first 3 very briefly on the channel. So we're just going back to do longer episodes because you keep watching them and we love you for that.
Yeah, we love talking about this. It's so fun. You find different little nuances too. Like, when we do the long form recaps, there's things that come up. You're like, I didn't notice that before. Dang, what's she talking about? Things come up. It's
We had a little audio
nice
issue
to
there. But
discuss.
yes, it is. And by the way, we got a lot of feedback saying, do the writer's room, do the writer's room. And I'm like, okay. So we have agreed through our lawyers communicating, in a conference room that we will do a couple of the writer's room. And then we have some more Sex in the City content and just like that content because it is fun to make fun of. We're not going to go back through the whole series or anything, but we have a couple surprises up our sleeve. But this will be until the inevitable season 2, or should we say up in the air season 2. This will be the last recap of this season 1 official episode of And Just Like That.
Yeah, so let's enjoy this. Sit back, relax, open a bottle of something, and let's get into talking about this episode. Yes.
Yeah, spread your legs open, turn the fan on. Okay.
Get in the sling, put in your headphones.
So the episode opens at Che Diaz's podcast, X, Y, and Me. And I don't remember really what the conversation was. My takeaway from this was when Che again hits the trigger warning button, sound effect button.
The woke moment one?
Yeah, only this time it says trigger warning.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it says different things.
Yeah, which is weird because I've never seen a little pad it's just like I don't know if they're faking it. If you're an audio engineer out there, let me know. But it just looks like he's I have a mixer that's got different actual physical buttons for sound effects. We're not big into sound effects in here because it's fucking cheesy. But we might need to implement the woke moment just for Che Diaz.
I know, and you see someone's coming in the room and they have 2 coconut shells. Welcome, Carrie. My coconut. The sound of and the thunder with the piece of metal.
Yeah. Okay, and then after the show, Carrie's, sitting in a room putting her stuff away, and Che pops in. What's up, bro? You did better on the podcast today. You stepped your pussy up.
Oh, God. In that podcast, I don't know how they need so many people to produce that podcast. There were 5 people? We have Carrie, Che, Bobby Lee's character, who I just keep forgetting his name. And then 2 people, behind the glass, they're in, a recording studio. I don't know why they need so many people.
I know. I mean, part of me is jealous, but then part of me is like, ew, too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, this podcast is produced with, exactly, 1/2 of a person. Which explains some of our issues. But, I mean, can you imagine if we had a whole team? I think less is more. I watch a lot of podcasts, especially on YouTube, and some of the ones that celebrities do or celebrity comedians do, and they have a whole team, I'm like, you're ruining it. It's too much. It doesn't need this much production.
No, it takes away some of the intimacy, I think, and people might be a little more guarded with other people around. I don't know. I don't know that I am, but I think that could be an issue.
Well, no, not you, of course, but...
Not moi.
But I don't need people behind plexiglass giving me stank face and saying caller number 3. I don't need all that, frankly. I just...
Caller number 3, the Roz, too. They're Frasier, yeah.
Yeah. So, so we'll stick with this format for a while. Unless you join our patreon.com/dragdungeon, $3 a month for bonus episodes. That could help us out. Thank you.
Yes.
Che makes fun of Kerry because Kerry goes, "Oh, I got a few zingers in." And Che's like, "Whoa, boomer. You shouldn't say zingers. That's so embarrassing. I'd just roast you if your husband hadn't just died." And I'm like, is zingers passe? I say zingers.
Sure, why not zingers? What else would you call them? Zingers.
Dig. I don't know. Zinger is the word.
Jabs. Stabs.
So I wasn't mad at that.
Zing! Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Zing. So Kerry tells Che, "I'm coming to you." I thought this was great, and I don't think that I caught this exchange the first time. But Kerry says to Che, "I'm coming to your comedy concert on Friday." And Che says, "Oh, you don't have to come." And Kerry says, which was so shady, "You came to my funeral. I'm coming to your comedy show." Did you catch that the first time? I was like, somebody wrote a shady line in here.
Yeah, I'm doing it out of guilt. Yeah, I owe you one.
Basically equating the comedy show to a funeral, and I thought that was pretty great.
A funeral, right?
So
someone died at my, you came to something where someone died. I'll come watch you die on stage.
I'll watch you die on stage. Either way, there was a corpse there, so I thought that was funny. Props to the writer, whoever wrote that, because I feel like we could have used more of that. Now, Carrie and Miranda are walking in the street. I remember seeing a lot of paparazzi shots of this, and they are about to go to the reading of Big's will with Gloria, his secretary that we met at the funeral. And any thoughts on that little, just them walking? Do you like I like the outside in the streets shots.
Sure. I mean, they show the city and it takes us, into the moment. Sure. I like anything that in this show that doesn't make you cringe.
Want to barf. Yeah, as long as the background actors aren't being super distracting or missing their cue or whatever. Remember, we spotted a little part. I hope I can find that clip of the background actor looking at the director, and then when they scream, action or whatever, you see
that they said action. Yeah,
it's so funny.
Or whatever, and walks.
And by the way, if you notice, no, I won't say that. Okay, so this is where we find out. We have a scene with Charlotte and Stanford here, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way. That during the reading of the will, we find out that Big left Natasha $1 million. $1
million.
I'm like, yeah. That's it? No. Right. Now, I know we talked about this before, but any thoughts on the number, the fact that he left it to Natasha, any speculation?
Well, one thing that's funny is I think it's Stanford who talks about this later on in the episode, and I kept getting some Dr. Evil vibes when he kept saying $1 million.
Yes.
But, did no one catch this at the time? They should have had the camera, cut to him where he's looking at it, and he just holds his pinky up to his mouth.
He does kind of favor him. He does. Yes. So I was thinking... Kerry's real bent out of shape. One thing they never really explored was the possibility that this was an old will. A lot of wealthy people and celebrities, or just regular everyday folks, make wills and then never revisit it. So it's in my mind, it's possible that this was the will from his first marriage, and he never, even though we all think he's a responsible businessman, he clearly isn't because he didn't plan his funeral in advance. But I'm like, this could have been his will from his original marriage to Natasha that he just never updated.
Oh my God, if that's the case, and I were Natasha, I would be... Well, if he died then and only left her $1 million, well, how much money did he have then?
Right, I'd be pissed.
If he would only have left his wife $1 million. I mean, that's I'm sure he had way more than that, so...
And that would have been a funnier choice for Natasha later in this episode, be only $1 million.
Right. Then she's all pissed.
That stingy bitch. Okay, so Stanford... pops up on Charlotte for lunch. Charlotte is surprised to see Stanford at the restaurant. She's like, "Oh, why are you here? Aren't you dying?" No. Oh God, I'm gonna get red for Phil from the comments.
Don't you have someone to die? That's
She's like, "Are you still here? I thought you were in hospice." Oh God, these are horrible jokes. Anyway, I love Willie Garson. Don't come for me.
I do too. We love him.
We love him. And
we have to keep from crying. That's
exactly. I love him and support his child that he left behind. But anyway, so I do kind of like the conflict between Stanford and Charlotte. I think it's a little funny. I could have used more of it.
Yeah, I could have seen him snatching her wig right off. And then Miranda comes up. He snatches her wig off. It could have been a real wig snatch fest.
They should have been in a full barroom brawl by the time Carrie arrived. Carrie and Miranda.
Oh my God! Could you imagine like Stanford chucking a chair at Charlotte and she dives out of the way, and the whole place goes insane all over this reservation.
And Charlotte pulls a gun out of her Chanel handbag. Like, nobody move!
God, everybody down!
Everybody down! So I do kind of like. I don't even know what. I don't think it makes sense that Charlotte's upset that Stanford's there. What? He's just like, decoration. I mean, I love him, but...
Yeah, well, Charlotte likes Anthony, right? Aren't they friends?
Yeah, they are best friends.
Like
they were.
him, but not Stanford. Stanford's way less irritating. Well, I think.
He is. That was one thing in the second movie when they got married. I was like, this is stupid. Of course, it made for a beautiful, great scene. The wedding, if you saw it. When Liza Minnelli came out and performed. It was just totally crazy. It was unrealistic to the max, but it was a great scene. But I'm like, these two would never get married. And I think it was Miranda that said, well, it's kind of like they were the last two standing, so they just decided to get married. And I'm like, that's depressing. But anyway.
It's kind of offensive.
It's offensive. I'm filing a police report. Okay. So.
I'm calling the police.
Let's see. So Charlotte's throwing a fit because they can't find... She's like, well, the reservation's for 3, and everybody on planet Earth, whether you worked in a restaurant or not, knows that tables are squares, which means there's room for 4 chairs. And Stanford's like, okay. Now...
I guess it's that the table that they sit at, being right by the kitchen door. So, I guess that really could be a table for 3, how that's set up. Plus, they take the actor who's dying, which we talked about this, and set him in front of the door to constantly get, beat with the door.
I mean, he's a good sport, if nothing else. You're right, that could be a 2, but that would be for, the shittiest guest, so whatever. Charlotte's like, I fought very hard to get this table. I'm like, bitch, COVID's still happening. You just walked right in there. Anyway, whatever.
Well, she's like, they picked that restaurant because it's somewhere that Carrie and
thank you
with Big or Samantha. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, Carrie just she's like the puppet master.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I can't believe she could get her hand that far up Charlotte's dress. She just owns them and makes them do stuff for her.
We're trying to find a restaurant that Carrie's never walked by, been in, had sex in. Been in with Mr. Big. Been in with Samantha.
No, somewhere she hasn't gotten fucked behind the dumpster.
Fucked behind the dumpster. She's never taken a Plan B pill in. She's not... What? I mean, it's too many. She's been all over. She's ran through this town, okay? So, give it up. I used to kind of be like that, not superstitious, but little things would trigger me about places I'd been with. And now I'm... it goes away. Just
no, it does.
Lean
There's
in.
a place right by where I live. I had a bad date at, and I walk by there every single day, twice a day to get to the train. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I finally feel okay about it. But
yeah.
It was triggering.
You just gotta overwrite the memory, on your computer hard drive. You gotta go have a better experience at that same place, and that's like, oh, we're done. And then when the date's over, just be like, look, I just came here to have a good date. Now that we're done, bye.
Yeah, the food was good, so that made up for it, maybe. I think about the food when I walk by, not the jerk.
Okay, well, that's not what I was expecting. Okay. Carrie is lying awake at night. One of the many, many, many scenes of her just laying in bed looking sad.
Oh, God.
Thinking about Big, digging through his nightstand. Now, I would think that while he was still dead on the floor, she would get his cell phone and use the Face ID to get it open one last time, You know how the Face ID, facial recognition? While he was dead on the floor, she should have pried his little eyeballs open.
She runs and grabs the phone and pulls it up. She thinks that she doesn't think to call 911, but she thinks to grab his phone to do face recognition. Well, I thought when she was going to that nightstand, she was going for her vibrator, but
yeah. Oh well, I could see that too. Or she should have chopped off one of his fingers to use if he still had the old iPhone with the... Actually, they're using Blackberries in the show, which is so funny because BlackBerry just went out of business. But she should have chopped his finger off. They did this in Orange is the New Black, so she could keep using the finger touch ID to get his little phone open. But I'd have had his eyeballs. I'd be like, I know you're dead. I'm sorry. I know you're dying, waiting for the paramedics. But here, I just gotta... Thank you. I'm in.
Yeah, thank you. Or you could do it at the funeral, too, maybe, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if they glue the eyelids shut. Somebody, if you're a mortician.
Oh, because you have to have the actual open eyes. Meow. Okay.
Not exactly sure. If you're a mortician, drop down in the comments and let us know. I really hope secretly that we have a mortician in the audience. That would be great.
That would be
We have a
awesome.
lot of questions. How to hide a
We love
body.
morticians. Love them.
So, then she goes digging through, his suit pockets, and she finds a phone number, which she's too stupid to realize is her home phone number. She calls it.
Oh, how did she not recognize that?
Oh, I'm so stupid. Then she's digging through his wallet. I'm like, I'd have been up in that wallet the minute they rolled the corpse out, getting credit cards,
Right. Well, they were going to go shopping while he's still being wheeled out. Well, that's our story. I'm surprised she didn't be like, hold on, Miranda. Clippy, 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 clip. Digs in his pocket, grabs his wallet. Yes! And then they run out to shop.
Yeah, because I believe that he had the black Amex. I don't think he trusted Carrie with it, with her stupid shoe habit. So to get that black Amex, she's got to go in his wallet.
She don't know how to spend money, for sure.
She's so dumb. So she finds a picture of his dog. I don't know why I even wrote this down. This is so boring.
And she gets obsessed with that dog. Like, relax, bitch. I mean, was he required to tell you every single solitary detail of his life, his pink berry card or whatever? Like, leave him alone. Jesus. What if he, just treats himself every, Friday afternoon after he's had a long week? Do you have to be involved in everything? God.
It's like, he never told me that he goes to Pinkberry. Well, look, we all keep secrets from our spouses. We have separate lives, separate families.
That's a secret. I think you're doing okay.
I think so. But, Carrie, she's highly bothered by everything that doesn't... If her pet name... And she tried her name as the password first in the computer. You mean it's not Carrie?
Oh, no, she did. She did.
So
she's like, he had 6 affairs, but he has a pink berry card. He never told me about this.
Never told me.
Berry.
So she turns over the picture of his childhood dog and sees that the dog's name was RuPaul. So she thinks, oh, maybe that's the password.
She goes over and types, "You better work." Enter. No, that's not it.
Visage.
Hello. No.
So Charlotte, let's see, hold on one second. Charlotte, I skipped a part where Charlotte was not reading a story to, but just kind of laying in bed with Rose, then Rose, chilling, reading a book to her or something, just having mom-daughter time. And this is where Rose says for the first time, "I don't feel like a girl." And Charlotte's like, "Well, sometimes I don't either," because she knows what's coming. She met Che Diaz. She knows what's up. And Rose is like, "I never feel like a girl." And Charlotte falls off the bed. I enjoy the physical comedy part of this. It was a short and sweet scene. What do you think?
Oh, I liked it. It was sweet. It's sweet that she still read. Rose is older now, but to see her reading a story to her, that's so sweet. Not all parents are there for their children, so that's nice.
My mommy read to me.
My mommy read me.
And now I read her The House Down.
Novels. Now I read her The House Down boot.
Like, bitch, what are you wearing?
Right?
Anyway.
She comes in, let's read you a story, and she gets out
Not in
Dick
that
and Jane
outfit.
or whatever the story is. Let me read you now, Mom. What are those shoes?
I've literally said
Do
that.
something with that sacky ass wig, bitch.
So Charlotte and Rose go to, I guess, volunteer at Anthony's Sexy Man Bread Shop. Which,
God.
and this is where Charlotte kind of talks to Anthony about Rose saying she doesn't feel like a girl. Do you remember what Anthony said to her?
He basically belittles, says shit about, she might think she's a dog or whatever. And I'm like, shut up, you asshole.
That's bad writing.
It's bad. He is such an ass. And we talked about this, quick side note. I'm rewatching Sex and the City, and there was this episode where, I guess, Anthony's in, whatever, a couple scenes. He was so good. I thought he was really good. And then to see him now, he was kind of bitter then, but now he's just, sad and bitter and just says offensive things instead of funny offensive. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I thought everyone was better. And maybe they just took too big of a break between the movie and this, because I feel like they all forgot who the characters were. And they were probably thrown off by these scripts. I just want somebody to come out and be... if they decide not to do a season 2 of this, I want somebody to come out and be like, you know what? I didn't think the script was very good, so I understood the backlash. Somebody. Nobody's going to burn their bridges in Hollywood or New York, so...
Right, and I think, like, with actors in these shows, this is my opinion with these reboots, which we kind of, I'm sure, talked about this before to a degree. Maybe not. But when they come back, I feel like they lean on the easy parts of their characters. Like, Anthony's character is a bitchy queen or whatever, and he just like says, oh, I can do that, and leans on that and leaves out all of these other nuances of that character because it's just easy to fall back into that bitchy queen part. It's like the actors, you know what I mean? So the actors come back and say, like, okay, Will and Grace. Like, I didn't watch the reboot, so I'm totally making the story up. But Jack comes back. Well, he's this goofy whatever. It's easy to, like, lean into that. I'm just using this as an example of that side of a character and just losing all of the nuances. I guess I just judged a show that I never saw. So
I thought you did see it. We talked about it, or you just saw...
I saw a couple of episodes.
I watched it.
I don't want to say I could recap
Well, you're right, though. They did fall right back into those characters. It was totally good. Like, and I was never a big...
I was right. I didn't even have to watch it.
Yeah, it was... I was never a big fan of the show. It's a great show, don't get me wrong. It's just not my thing, per se. Plus, as a child, and I've mentioned this before, or a teenager, I got sick of people saying, like, straight drunk girls coming up going, white girls, of course, saying, I'm the Karen and you're the Jack. And I'm like, actually, I'm not.
I would never speak to that person again if someone said that to me. I would spray their face with mace if somebody came up to me and was like, oh, you're just like Jack, which I have gotten that. And this one person I know, she always refers to me as David Rose. And I'm like, I'm going to stab you.
Who's David Rose?
You know, from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't want to be... I don't know what... People think they're complimenting you, and I'm like, I don't see it as a compliment. They're great characters, both of them. I just don't want to be compared to them. That's all.
Well, and just the actors, just back real quick, the actors coming back and just leaning into it, I think that's kind of how all of these reboots kind of work. And it's just a shame this had to be the same.
Yeah.
Just to take it back. Yeah.
Okay, so Kerry is on the phone with Miranda late at night, and she's like, look, I tried emailing Natasha. I have to figure this out. I've hired a private investigator. I emailed her. It bounced back. So I tried to follow her on Instagram. She blocked me. So I did, as I triangulated her location. I'm like, girl, give her the $1 million and move on. Big is dead.
Obsessed. She like should have put like a tracking device on her car or like a or something, like just to follow her everywhere. Like when they go to the scene, which we'll get to in the coffee shop, she's like, this isn't your neighborhood. And she's like, so you know where I live too.
Yeah, duh. Of course I do.
Crazy.
I mean, when we do our revenge episode, let me tell you, I've got stories. I'm sure you do too. About how to get back at people legally. So Miranda's like, bitch, move on. But unfortunately, the next day, suddenly Miranda and Charlotte are both they've cleared their schedule to get in a car and do this like caper adventure to go stalk Natasha with Kerry. Because why? Why are they with her in the car to go to Natasha's office?
I don't know. Like, because they all lost damn sense in their heads. Like, they used to have some, you know... I don't know if they try to make this, like, into, like, a madcap I Love Lucy sort of thing or what. You know, Lucy and Ethel moment. But it just falls so short of the comedy aspect of that. It just seems sad and desperate. There's, like, no comedy to this.
Do you think that they were still at this point, because this is episode 3, do you think they were trying to figure out, are we going to make this a comedy or a drama? Because it ended up being a full-on just drama. There was no laughs. There were no laughs.
Well, this is definitely a series where they probably got into it and they're like, I don't know where we're going. Like, I don't know what we're doing. So let's just lean into characters. Like I said about the reboots, it's just lean in the characters the way, make them into characters and just lean into it and see what happens,
They really needed a comedic actress to come in. Susan Sharon, they needed a comedic actress to come in and fill Samantha's shoes. She didn't even have to be sexy and all about sex all the time. We just needed fun and funny, and there is none.
I liked Charlotte's read of Natasha that she's wearing flats because I would have thought the same thing.
Well, she's wearing those gladiator sandals, which went out of style like a decade ago. They were so fucking ugly.
Those are part of Halloween costumes. those gladiators. Every time I see them, I think of a Halloween costume.
Things that really date, as the fashion expert here, things that really date women is when they wear either platform high heels, which I thought were so cute when they were popular 10, 12 years ago, and gladiator heels or sandals. Ugly, ugly.
Yes, those two are definitely of a time. Like Mary Jane shoes are of a time. Like, there's things people need to stay the hell away from.
Mm-hmm.
Even those club kid boots. No.
Yeah,
anyway,
like creepers. Ugh.
Yes.
They keep trying to bring those back. So Charlotte and Miranda say, we'll wait for you at the Starbucks around the corner with loaded guns in our purses if you need help. If you need backup.
Molotov cocktails ready to throw it.
These bitches came to fight, man. They almost should have come with like their hair slicked back in a ponytail, Vaseline. They're
wearing all black turtlenecks.
Yeah, like gangster stuff. They should have just shot her from the car. Anyway.
Like the group from Archer, they show up like to show Archer.
So, while Carrie's going in there, she asked to see Natasha, and the secretary.
Why did she use a fake name, by the way? Sorry to jump in, but why didn't she use a fake name? Why didn't she say her own name?
She's an amateur. Has she never snuck into somebody's job before? What a loser.
There's nothing more annoying than people trying to pull off something and doing a bad job. Oh, it's so annoying.
Like
murders,
like a podcast.
Podcast. Any murders, robberies, podcasts, extortion.
How dreadful.
Do stupid things.
She should have worn a full disguise. Now, back in the old days, in the original show, Samantha was wearing that Raquel Welch wig when she went to find Richard eating some other woman's pussy. We all remember that. You ate another woman's pussy, and then she made the flyers and made it rain in the fly. God, the glory. Do you remember that scene?
Well, yes, I do. Well, Carrie showing up and would funny with a trench coat, dark glasses, I just totally thought of Miss Piggy in Muppets Take Manhattan when she was spying on Kermit.
And then Carrie comes out of the delivery room because Miranda's just had her baby, and she sees Charlotte or somebody in the hallway, and she's like, Raquel Welch is in there.
Oh, right. That's so cute.
Love that. We need to do a Samantha tribute episode. So, anyway, back at the Starbucks, I remember seeing paparazzi shots of this as well. I like to mention that because I thought it was so exciting to see. I always love, when they were doing the movies, I loved seeing the paparazzi photos. It got me going. It got me excited. But unfortunately, this did not turn out to be good. But I remember seeing this, and we noticed that. Wait a minute, I got distracted by the ring. Okay, Miranda's going to get a bagel or something, or a pastry, and Charlotte's like, do you have a phone charger? Yeah, it's in my bag. Now, if you're an alcoholic hiding bottles of booze in your bag, you don't just tell somebody, you don't forget and tell somebody, yeah, go in my bag.
That's a giant-ass bag, too. That's like a satchel.
Like, if you ever had cocaine in your purse and somebody's like, can I go in your purse? And you're like, no!
No, well, that's like, can I, let me show you these pictures on my phone, and they start swiping.
Oh, never in my life. Are you kidding me?
No, never.
In fact, I'm shocked when somebody does hand me their phone, and they're like, just continue swiping, and I'm like, oh, I will. I absolutely will.
What do you mean, as you're already doing it?
By the way, I need to unlock your private album. Just look right here. Got it. Okay. So Charlotte sees the liquor, the Tito's airplane bottles, and she's like, oh, shit, my friend's an alcoholic. Oh, well, it doesn't have to do with Carrie, so I don't care about it.
Well, Carrie doesn't care either, which we learn. Oh.
So this is the beginning of the dropped storyline of Miranda'S alcoholism, which they never fleshed out completely, but whatever. Because, like I said before, I'm happy that she's drinking. I would have to drink to be around these two also.
Oh my god, absolutely. I'm just sorry she's not shooting up sitting next to them. She's got a spoon and a lighter. Yeah, Carrie, what do we want to hear about Natasha again?
Hold on, let me find my vein.
Mm-hmm. Right, for real, she's got a rubber thing,
Miranda confides into Charlotte. Maybe she's been drinking this morning, so she's feeling very loose-lipped about her personal life. But she's like, me and Steve haven't had sex in years. Should I kill him?
Right. Well, she tries to kill him, feeding him chia seeds. I'm like, dang, obsessed much with the chia seeds. I don't like chia seeds. They do get stuck in your teeth.
They do.
Because Steve's...
I think that the scene of them having ice cream every night, that seems like a great marriage to me. I don't know what she I guess she just wants more. I have no problem with ice.
Ice cream's not enough. She needs a finger. She needs
I mean, yeah,
to be
penetrate. I would want the sex too, but I mean, 3 to 4 nights a week just sitting around chilling by the TV, that's kind of like my life plan. So anybody
How
out
would
there...
you feel about being fingered while eating ice cream?
I like to separate church and state, so I don't think I want food while I'm getting banged.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Maybe if you're eating it off of each other, what about that?
No, I still just don't like food involved.
Really?
There's only one liquid I'm interested in. Oh, that's gross. Okay.
Ew.
So let's see what happens here. Natasha'S assistant comes out. Now, it's weird that the secretary wouldn't know that Natasha wasn't there. Of course, she actually was there. But Natasha had no way of knowing that Kerry was going to stalk her at work, which is wildly inappropriate for anyone. Do not come to my job. I will come to your job. You know, when people say, I will come to your job. So Natasha's assistant comes out and she goes, actually, Natasha's in Rome. Thanks, bye. Spins
I
her...
would 1,000% call the police.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Was there a metal detector? I didn't see one. Kerry just walked right in there with that big bag.
Right.
Ready to shoot. But part of me would want to entertain the conversation if I was Natasha. But Natasha is a chic, classy broad. Like, she's not interested in Kerry's bullshit. She's sick of her at this point. She fucked up her marriage. She's like, I'm done. I've moved on. I have kids with a new family. Leave me alone.
It's like a little gnat that just won't go away. I half expected Kerry to be propelling from the roof outside her window.
Yes.
Upside down, knocking on the
Catwoman.
window.
Now, this is a scene where we really needed Samantha, because Samantha would have just said, honey, I got this. And just pushed past the secretary and walked right back there. And be like, come on, Kerry. Walked right back to that bitch's office. So we miss you, Samantha.
Bitch. Yeah.
Let's see. So Kerry storms back to the coffee shop. Put down your coffee. Throw that shit out. I need you guys. And they're like, oh, we're coming, ma'am. We're coming, Kerry.
Man.
And she tells them about what just happened. And she's like, she's in there. We just saw the bitch walk in the building. And then they're walking by and they look up and Natasha is looking down with a sniper rifle.
Dun, 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 right.
Pew, pew, pew.
That would have been the best if she would have just popped them off right there.
And then season 2.
Maybe not hit them, but at them. And they're diving out of the way. That's so much better than Kerry covering her eyes and running away. And one thing I have to say is Kerry is clearly at fault in this whole thing. And Charlotte and them are just making excuses for her, which I don't get.
Enabling.
Charlotte going, you were with Big first. I'm like, Charlotte, what happened to you? You used to be this whole, love
Level-headed.
and everything. Yeah, and now you're, making excuses for Kerry? Jesus.
If I had a friend who wanted to do all this shit, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I would have been down. I've been like, yeah, let's go on an adventure. Let's stalk your boyfriend. Nowadays, I'm like, girl, I got reruns to watch. I got, podcasts to listen to. I don't have time for all that. I'm not leaving my house for this. I'm just not that friend anymore.
No.
That's something you do in your 20s. Late teens, early 20s.
I know, last year.
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're saying we were in our 20s.
Last year, it was the age thing. Age joke.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and then they all run away like cowards. I'd have looked that bitch in the face and mouthed you're done or you're finished.
Flipped her off.
Yeah.
I did the whole, cutthroat thing.
Yeah. Is this where, now Kerry, later in this episode, Kerry storms in on Natasha in the bathroom, right?
Right, yes, that's next. They go to that, what is that cafe, matcha cafe, where it says never too much or never too matcha. That's what it says, which I think any matcha is too much matcha. I'm just saying.
More thoughts on that at noon. Okay. I love that you noticed the name of the restaurant. If you have anything specific to say, what happens here, you all remember, is Kerry goes in to use the toilet. She gets a coffee. She storms it on Natasha randomly out of all the places in New York. Do you have anything to say about this scene? It's pretty boring.
It's pretty boring, and any comments I make are bathroom humor, so I won't make them.
All right.
What was she doing in the bathroom?
It looked like a number 1, so let's not get cross.
Hopefully.
And then they sit down and have a point. This was just an excuse to bring the actress back Bridget Moynihan, who is so beautiful, and I'm glad we got to see her, but this seemed like it went on too long. I think it should have ended after Natasha looked down at them. Natasha should have flicked them off, and it should have been the end of it. This whole bathroom thing is too much of a coincidence. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think this show has a lot of that, like running into people like randomly, like watching, Sex and the City. There's episodes where that keeps happening too. Like she was running into that one person who, I can't think of her name. She was the Saturday Night Live person who dated Aiden after Kerry. She's kept running into her like everywhere. I'm like, Jesus. So that's like a running thing for this. But I have to say, this scene with Natasha might be one of the best scenes of this and just like that series. There's like some real emotion. The person who plays Natasha, whatever her name is, she's good.
She is good.
She's good, and she's good in this scene. And this is like the scene, we were talking about the episode where, Carrie's outside of her apartment and she yells at Charlotte about she should have gone to the Hamptons or whatever with Big. And
Like I wanted to.
Like that's such a good scene. Like this scene is also in that, like, if I had to pick like a top 5 thing, like this would be one of the scenes.
Right after I just said it was a disposable scene, you're like, actually, it was the best scene.
No, I really liked it. I got some real emotion. I felt bad for both. Well, okay, I felt bad for Natasha. Carrie, she just like curled up in a ball there, which is kind of like appropriate. I don't know.
Well, you see what they had to do. They had to have Carrie burn her hand so that we'd care about her, because otherwise we wouldn't. They had to physically harm Carrie for us to even think about caring.
Carrie Bradshaw, Burn Victims. That's a new show. But yeah, I just think there's some real acting in this scene. I think is probably why I liked it. Where it's not like, I think maybe too, Natasha, her character, in my opinion, like in Sex and the City, wasn't super fleshed out. Where this adds some like depth to her, and I really like that.
Yeah, because they wanted us in the original show to not like her, so we didn't like her. But come to find out, Carrie really was the bad person in all of this. Big had the nice marriage with the clean white apartment that I loved. And Carrie the whore comes in. And then Natasha busted her fucking tooth. That poor girl. That's like my worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah. She's like a model. She busted her tooth. She probably could have sued Carrie for that.
And now she works at a cashmere company. I'm like, everybody works. Susan Sharon works at a cashmere place. She works at a cashmere place. I think in the premiere of Sex and the City, they talked about somebody... The girl that they were showing in that little vignette or whatever at the beginning of the episode she sold pashminas or something. Somebody told me that was based on Dorinda Medley from The Real Housewives too, by the way. Just a fun fact. Could be true, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, back to all this. So we're going to Che's comedy concert, which is a new invention invented for this show. You ever been to a comedy show that you liked besides Joan Rivers? Joan Rivers. We'll mention Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers, yes. We talk about Joan Rivers because she's our comedy idol. She's our comedy idol. I'm trying to think if I've seen anybody other comedy shows. Joan, of course, was
the most
incredible.
Have you ever been to a bad one? Yeah. Is my question.
A bad one? Just listening to our podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, I don't know if I've ever been... I mean, I would say Lady Bunny's a comedy show, and when I saw Coco Peru, that's a comedy show. Those are both good. No, I don't think I've ever been to a bad one.
I've been to one bad one. It was the Ricky Smiley comedy experience, where I saw about...
Ricky Smiley
from the radio. And, sometimes I watched Dish Nation back in the day. I liked Ricky Smiley. I liked the radio hosts. It was him and about 5 other guys. I saw, I swear to you, 5 to 6 Barack Obama impressions. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. No, I mean, zero laughter. I went with a friend of mine, and we were just looking at each other like, how do we get out of here? And we did end up leaving early. It was terrible. So if you see...
God, 5 or 6 Barack Obama impersonations?
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
And everybody roaring applause. And I'm like, this is not fun. I know what you're thinking, guys. Oh, you're a white guy. You don't think that's... Well, look, my friend that I was with was black, so she didn't find it funny either. There, if I made it official. Okay, the comedy concert is... I'm not going to put anybody through quotes of the horrific jokes, because we've all been traumatized enough, but any general thoughts about that Che Diaz comedy?
Well, more of the audience, and at the end she goes, "Good night, America." I'm like, how many people do you think are there?
All of America.
First of all of America. No, I don't know. It's fine. Like, she talked about, like, non-binary people being on shows and they're, like, the aliens or whatever. Well, we've talked about Che Diaz being on there and being so out of the,
I think you called her an alien. Him an alien.
out of the world, yeah, of Sex in the City and just like that. She comes in, and that's why people were, like, couldn't relate immediately because, I said they came in just so alien-like. They didn't make someone who could, Carrie and Miranda and Charlotte could relate to. So it became this, like, alien thing. Like, even Carrie might have done better at the podcast if Che was different.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and I will say about the audience one thing, well, real quick, is both Miranda and Charlotte are both, like, about tears and they're, like, having a moment. I will give them that their lives are probably relatively boring, of course, and then they step out of their lives and into some sort of art that just takes them out and causes them to have feelings they've probably not had in a very long time. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate the sentiment there. I just want to say I'm giving them a little bit of props.
And Miranda is full on just like swooning over Che at this point. She's doing that. She did the same thing on the episode where there was the random Pride event in the park, and Miranda's in the audience just going.
Yeah. She was like fingering herself.
Yeah. And again, I want to just put this in here since the last time we're talking about an actual episode until season 2. We do not blame Sarah Ramirez, the actor, because I think that there's only so much she could have done with this horrible script. It's horrible. And I'm sure she is a fine actor in other things, just not here. This is not good for you. It's going to make people dislike you in person. And I hate that because I want her to get her money, but what was she supposed to do with this material? It was meant to be, well, it probably wasn't intended to be a hateable character, but we ended up, everybody, the consensus across the internet and the world is we all hate Che Diaz. So Sarah, though, I'm sure is totally lovely.
Oh, for sure. Like, I don't blame Sarah for this. I mean, I don't blame everyone involved in this. I mean, there's producers that are also actors in this that can be blamed as far as actors being blamed are concerned. But it's so much the writing and the story. If you blame any of these people, it's a lot of people. Why didn't you put your foot down and stop some of this?
Yeah.
Like, threaten to walk. Like, they already lost Kim Cattrall. They're not going to, risk losing Cynthia Nixon or something like that. Cynthia Nixon should have been like, look, no. Yeah. I'm out of here unless we fix some of this shit. But they didn't do it.
Well, and they're all three of the main girls are executive producers. Now that's probably just a cushy, made up title, and that's fine.
It's good money.
But a lot of things could have been fixed. Maybe we'll talk about it at length later. But I think, well, let me just finish here. The episode kind of ends with everybody's hitching a ride home, and then Miranda, instead of going home, goes back in to see Che and kind of shotguns off her pot smoke, and it's a real, like, the beginning of their romantic moment. So there's that.
Che Rambo.
Rambo.
What are the names? Che Randa's my favorite.
I like Che Randa
because I made that up.
Coined it. But a lot of things could have been fixed, like the clothes. We talked about Pat Field. A lot of people commented, well, Pat Field's doing Emily in Paris. Well, who the hell's watching that, first of all? But good for her for getting her money and moving on. But I'm like, couldn't that bitch have Skyped in? And I say bitch with love. Couldn't Pat Field have Skyped in or Zoomed in and been like, what are you all doing with these clothes?
Did you notice that Che, about the last scene, Che was wearing a padlock around their neck. Did you notice that?
So edgy. No, I didn't.
Well, that means something in, like, if you want to say,
the culture.
I don't want to say gay world, but we will, culture, that it means someone has the key, so you're taken. So I don't know if that meant that.
It sounds heavy.
I just noticed that. Well, it looked like a small lock, so probably not too heavy. No, I'm kidding. I know what you mean.
So I guess, unless you have anything else to add, that wraps up episode 3.
No, I think the only thing I'll end with is a shoe comment. Like, Carrie, when she goes home to her old apartment, she's wearing those gold shoes. I kind of like them.
Yeah,
that's my last comment.
There are some okay pieces here, but the overall fashion, let's just face it, we're going to do a fashion video and break down every look. I think that's coming.
We just have to. I mean, it just has to happen. I have too many feelings that are just holding inside that's ready to erupt from me.
So here's our call to action, our plea. Last episode we asked, hoping that you'd say no, that if anybody wanted to hear the Writer's Room review, and unfortunately we received hundreds of responses saying yes. So now, our call to action in the comments, Number one, like the video, hit subscribe, hit the fucking bell, and then leave a comment and say, do you want to answer the question, do you want us to review all of the fashions from this series? We will do it if we get a response. But you have to comment and like the fucking video or else.
Yes, I'm excited. I want to talk about the fashions. I already tried to fix some of the shit that she wore. I'm ready to fix it all.
Fix it. So again, we have a patreon.com/dragdungeon. That's 4 bonus episodes a month minimum, plus pictures, erotic content. That's a joke. And it's $3 a month. It's nominal, and it helps us keep this shit show going. We really appreciate your support. Follow Drag Dungeon on all social media, especially Instagram. Why are none of you people following us over there? We ain't getting no love on Instagram.
Well, I don't know. I think Instagram's going away. I don't think people are as thrilled about Instagram as like they used to. Just saying.
Well, which of us is doing the dancing videos for TikTok? Because I'm out. I'm busy that day.
Well, let me get a new song, and we'll see.
Okay. Well, to be continued. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please subscribe and hit the bell. Comment. We will be back next week with another video, and we also have lots of great Drag Race content. Please subscribe on Spotify to the regular podcast, because everything is in a video. So, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Welcome back to the broadcast.